All right, get ready to dive into something super cool with us today. We're talking nootropic mushrooms. We found this awesome article from Shroom Traders all about how these fungi can seriously boost your brain power.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how much attention they're getting, huh? Like, people have used them in traditional medicine forever, but now science is catching up.
Totally. It's like this ancient wisdom is finally getting its time to shine. But hold on. Before we get too deep into this, let's break it down for our listener.
Hmm.
When we say nootropic, what are we even talking about?
So nootropic, it basically means anything that can make your brain work better. Think memory, focus, maybe even that creative spark. There's the synthetic stuff out there, but we're all about the natural nootropics today, those awesome mushrooms.
Gotcha. So nootropics boost your brain, and some mushrooms can do that.
Mm.
Makes sense. But I got to ask, aren't all mushrooms basically the same? Like, I love mushrooms on my pizza, but I'm pretty sure those aren't making me any smarter.
Haha, good point. That's where the difference between, like, culinary mushrooms and functional mushrooms comes in. The ones you're putting on your pizza, yeah, they're tasty, but people mainly pick them for their taste and how they feel. Nootropic mushrooms, though, these guys are full of compounds that actually do good things for your health, especially your brain.
So it's like comparing a regular apple to one of those superfood apples. They might look similar from the outside, but what's going on inside is totally different.
Yeah.
So what exactly makes these nootropic mushrooms tick? What's the science behind all this brain-boosting power?
It all comes down to what they're made of, their chemistry. For instance, a lot of nootropic mushrooms have tons of these things called polysaccharides, especially beta-glucans. They're complex molecules that not only help your immune system, but have also been linked to making memory and learning better. It's like a 2-for-1 deal for your health.
Whoa, so they're like little health packs.
Yeah.
The article also mentioned something called nerve growth factor, or NGF. What's the deal with that?
Oh, yeah. NGF, that's super important for your neurons, those cells that make up your brain and nervous system, for them to grow, stay healthy, and survive. And get this, certain mushrooms, like lion's mane, actually have compounds in them that can boost the production of NGF.
Wait, hold up. Are we saying there's a mushroom out there that can help your brain grow new brain cells? That sounds almost too good to be true.
Pretty amazing, right? And that's just one example. Other nootropic mushrooms are packed with antioxidants, those awesome molecules that protect your cells from damage. Think of them like little bodyguards for your brain cells, fighting off all the stuff that can mess them up as we get older.
All right, so we've got mushrooms that could help grow brain cells and others that act like bodyguards for the brain cells we already have. What other superpowers are we dealing with here?
Well, some mushrooms, like Cordyceps, have these compounds called adenosine analogs, and these little guys can actually ramp up your cellular energy production, more energy, better stamina, and even a clearer mind when you're pushing yourself, like during a workout.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. This is starting to sound pretty incredible.
Hmm.
So we've got the basics down. Nootropics boost brain power, and these special mushrooms have compounds that can make it happen. But tell me more about these mushroom all-stars, as the article calls them. Where do we even start?
Well, how about we start with the one you mentioned earlier, lion's mane? Pretty hard to miss a name like that, right?
I was just thinking that. Lion's mane. It sounds powerful, kind of mythical. What's the story with this one?
It definitely lives up to the name. We already talked about how it could maybe boost that NGF production, but there's some early research out there saying it might even help manage conditions like Alzheimer's. It's pretty cutting-edge stuff.
Seriously. A mushroom that could help with Alzheimer's now, that's a game changer. But we should probably be careful about getting too hyped up.
Right. Oh, for sure. We got to be cautious and remember that more research is needed. But yeah, those early findings, they're definitely looking good. And even if you're not dealing with something as serious as Alzheimer's, people have said lion's mane can make your memory better, help you focus, and just feel sharper mentally.
All right, you've got me hooked. We're only one mushroom in, and my mind is blown. What other wonders are hiding in this fungal kingdom? I'm ready for the next all-star. What about this reishi mushroom? The article called it the mushroom of immortality. Is that for real?
Okay, so maybe it won't make you live forever, haha, but reishi does have a pretty amazing history, especially in Eastern medicine. It's been used for centuries, and for good reason. One of the things it's known for is its adaptogenic properties.
Adaptogenic. Okay, that sounds pretty high-tech. What does that even mean?
Think of adaptogens like helpers for your body to deal with stress. They basically act like a buffer against all the craziness that life throws at us, helping us stay calm and focused.
Stress management, sign me up. But how does that connect to brain power?
Well, when you're constantly stressed out, your brain can't really work at its best. You get foggy, forgetful, and it's harder to focus. Reishi can help tone down those negative effects of stress by giving your body's natural stress response system a boost.
So it's like reishi gives our brains a little vacation from stress, letting them perform better. I can see why it's considered such a special mushroom.
Exactly. And there's more. Reishi has also been linked to better sleep, which is like essential for a sharp mind.
Makes sense. I know I don't think straight when I'm running on empty. It seems like these mushrooms aren't just about boosting brain power directly, but also about creating the right environment for our brains to thrive. Is that a fair way to put it?
You got it. It's a holistic approach to brain health. And speaking of holistic, the next mushroom on our list might just become your new gym buddy. Ever heard of Cordyceps?
Cordyceps. That rings a bell. Isn't that the one athletes love? I'm always down to try something that could give me an edge, especially when it comes to fitness.
Well, cordyceps could be your secret weapon. Remember those adenosine analogs we talked about? Those are the key to this mushroom's energy-boosting powers. It basically helps your cells use oxygen better, which means more energy, better endurance, and you can even think more clearly when you're working out hard.
So it's like a natural energy drink, but without the jitters and crash. And it helps me think clearly while I'm pushing my limits. I need to get my hands on some of this cordyceps.
Exactly. And don't forget those adaptogenic benefits we talked about. Cordyceps can also help you deal with stress and recover faster after a tough workout. It's like a triple whammy for athletes.
All right, this is incredible. We've got lion's mane for brain cell growth, reishi for handling stress and sleep, and cordyceps for energy and endurance. My brain is doing backflips trying to process all these amazing benefits. What other mushroom all-stars are we looking at? Let's move on to chaga. It might not be a classic nootropic, but it's a powerful friend to your brain. Think of it as a sidekick to the other mushrooms.
A sidekick, huh? I like that. Every superhero needs a trusty sidekick. What's so special about chaga? Well, when it comes to antioxidants, chaga is like a powerhouse. Remember those little warriors fighting off cell damage? Chaga is full of them. It helps protect your brain cells from damage, and it also gives you a nice, steady energy boost without making you jittery like caffeine.
So it's like a shield and a battery pack all in one. Now I see why it's the sidekick. It supports the other mushrooms and just makes your brain healthier overall.
You got it. It's all about that synergy. And last but not least, we've got turkey tail, the gut-brain whisperer.
Gut-brain whisperer. Now that's a name that grabs my attention. I've heard about this link between gut health and the brain, but I'd love to hear more about how turkey tail fits into all of this.
It's all about the gut microbiome, all those microorganisms living in our digestive system. Turkey tail is known for helping create a healthy gut microbiome. And more, we're learning that a healthy gut has a huge impact on how we think and feel.
So we're talking about a happy gut equals a happy brain. I'm starting to see the connection.
You got it. A healthy gut microbiome can affect everything from our mood and how well we think to our immune system and overall health. It's amazing how interconnected our bodies are.
This is mind-blowing. We've covered so much already. We talked about what nootropics are and how they work, explored all the benefits of lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, chaga, and turkey tail. It's amazing. But I have a feeling this is just the beginning, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. We've just scratched the surface of this amazing world. And in the next part, we'll dive into how to actually use these incredible mushrooms in our everyday lives. It's funny, we've been going on and on about all these awesome brain-boosting benefits, but I bet our listener is sitting there like, okay, but how do I actually use these mushrooms?
You're totally right. It's one thing to understand the science, but it's another to actually, take these mushrooms. I'm picturing people out in the woods trying to figure out which ones are the right ones.
Haha. Thankfully, it's way easier than that. These days, nootropic mushrooms are everywhere, and they come in all kinds of forms. If you're just starting out, powders and capsules are super easy.
Yeah, that sounds pretty simple. Just pop a capsule or toss some powder in your smoothie, done.
Exactly. It's all about making it easy to stick to a routine. And if you're not into capsules, you can mix those powders into basically anything. Coffee, tea, soups, sauces, you name it.
Speaking of coffee, the article mentioned mushroom coffee blends. Is that a real thing?
Oh yeah, it's totally a thing. And it's getting super popular. They take ground coffee beans and mix in powdered nootropic mushrooms so you get a nice, smooth energy boost without the jitters you sometimes get from regular coffee.
So you get the brain benefits of the mushrooms and your caffeine fix.
Yeah.
Sounds like the best of both worlds.
Right. And they have mushroom tea blends, too, if you'd rather skip the caffeine. You can even find snacks with these mushrooms in them, like protein bars and chocolates.
Wow, that's a lot of options.
Yeah.
I love how easy it is to find nootropic mushrooms now. It's not like some weird health fad anymore. It's totally mainstream. But with all these choices, How do we know where to start? Is there a recommended dose?
That's a good question. As with any supplement, it's always best to start small and see how you feel. Pay attention to your body and adjust as needed.
Right. Start slow and steady. Did the article mention any guidelines?
Yeah, it said to follow the instructions on the label, since those will be specific to the type of mushroom and how strong the extract is.
Makes sense. And of course, anyone with any health issues, pregnant women, or people taking medication should check with their doctor before trying nootropic mushrooms, right?
Absolutely. Safety first, always. And another important tip, be patient. Don't expect to feel different overnight. Consistency is key with these mushrooms.
Got it. Consistency and patience. Good advice for life in general, really. So we've talked about what nootropic mushrooms are, why they're good for you, and how to use them. What else do we need to know about this whole world of mushrooms?
Well, the research is always moving forward. Scientists are discovering new things all the time. It's a really exciting field.
I can imagine. What are some of the things researchers are focusing on right now?
One area that's really promising is how nootropic mushrooms might help treat neurodegenerative diseases. We talked about lion's mane and Alzheimer's research, but other mushrooms like reishi and cordyceps are also being looked at for their neuroprotective properties.
That's amazing. The idea that these mushrooms could help with those kinds of conditions. It's pretty hopeful. But again, we need to be careful about getting ahead of ourselves, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
We have to remember that research takes time, and promising research isn't the same as a proven treatment. But the early findings are encouraging, and I think it shows how powerful these natural remedies can be.
Yeah, for sure. It's like we're just beginning to understand what nature can do for us. What other cool research is happening with nootropic mushrooms?
Well, besides those diseases, researchers are also looking at how these mushrooms might help with mental health, like anxiety and depression. The adaptogenic properties of reishi and cordyceps could be game changers in that area.
It seems like these mushrooms have something for everyone, from boosting brain power and energy to managing stress, and maybe even helping with serious illnesses. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. And the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know. It's like we've just scratched the surface of what these mushrooms can do.
That's such a good point. It's not just about what we know now, it's about all the possibilities that are out there. It's about reconnecting with nature and tapping into the amazing healing power of these fungi.
You said it perfectly. It's all about discovery, both for scientists and for people who are using these mushrooms in their lives. And the best part is, anyone can be a part of it.
Totally. That brings us to another important thing, personal experience. We've been talking about this Shroom Traders article, but it's really just a starting point.
Exactly. The real fun starts when you start trying things out and see what works best for you. Everyone is different, and we all react differently to these mushrooms.
Yeah. What works great for one person might not do anything for someone else. It's all about finding what works for you.
Exactly. Pay attention to your body, listen to what it's telling you, and you'll figure out how these mushrooms can help you feel your best.
Great advice. So we've covered a lot today, from the science behind nootropic mushrooms to their potential benefits and how to use them. But I feel like this is just the start of the story, doesn't it?
You're right. This deep dive into nootropic mushrooms has been eye-opening, but it's also made me wonder about so many things, and I want to learn more.
So we've gone through the science, met all those awesome mushroom all-stars, and even figured out how to actually make them part of our lives.
Right, but here's the thing. This whole deep dive, it's really just a starting point.
Wait, there's more.
Think about it. We've been using these mushrooms in traditional medicine for centuries, and we're just starting to really understand them with modern science.
Okay, you've got me hooked. What other possibilities are out there?
What if these mushrooms are just a tiny glimpse into a whole world of natural brain boosters? What if nature has the keys to unlock even more brain power and well-being than we can even imagine right now?
Whoa, that's a pretty wild thought. Makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden out there in nature.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about all this. We're constantly learning, changing how we think, making new discoveries. This deep dive has been all about nootropic mushrooms, but it's also about being curious, asking questions, and being open to new knowledge.
You know what? You're totally right. It's like we've gotten this little taste of something amazing, and now we want more.
And that's a good thing. That drive to learn, to explore, to push the limits of what we know, that's what keeps us moving forward.
So what's the big takeaway for our listener today? What do we want them to remember?
I'd say the most important thing is this. Don't be afraid to explore, don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't underestimate the power of nature. Nootropic mushrooms are just one example of the amazing things nature has to offer.
I love that. Be curious, see what nature can do, and keep learning. That's something we can all get behind.
Absolutely. Who knows? Maybe the next big breakthrough in brain health will come from, like, a mushroom growing on a log somewhere.
That's a great way to put it. So to our listener out there, keep your mind open, stay curious, and keep exploring. There's so much potential waiting to be discovered in the world of natural brain boosters. And hey, maybe you'll be the one to make the next big discovery. Until next time, happy exploring.